My name is Valerie Corral, and I began using marijuana medicinally in the early 70s. I had a very unusual auto accident, and it resulted in a brain trauma, and I became epileptic and sometimes suffered as many as 5 grand mal a day. So for the first few years following that accident, I was embroiled in the battle of finding a medication that could at least diminish some of the seizure activity and the hospitalizations that followed. About 1974, my then husband read in a medical journal, and I think it was a Tashkent study, where laboratory-induced seizures in rats was treated successfully with cannabis. So, not quite believingly, I started to begin my own little experiment, and always had joints rolled, and when I felt a prodroma or an aura, I then would use some marijuana, and within about 3.5 weeks, my seizure activity began to diminish, and it was quite incredibly remarkable. It was, you know, the difference between that suffering or the fear of not knowing when it would strike me, and it was, you know, this side of miraculous. So that liberating feeling. So of course we started growing it, and soon found how to grow Sinsemilla. By 1975, we were in this incredible field of living off the land and producing all of our own medicines and food, and it was really quite a remarkable experience. It was the 70s and the beginning of the AIDS epidemic. Many of our friends began to contract HIV and cancers, different types of cancer, and so we simply just shared it with our community. Grew enough, grew extra. By the 78, we were growing enough for all of our friends as well. So it really was a natural evolution, if you will, of sharing the abundance. That also came with the strawberries and from the peach trees and all of the foods that we grew. And being an epileptic, it's an illness that you can hide. And because of that ability and the stigma that's associated with it, which is the stigma is mental illness that's associated with seizure activity, I was very isolative and really didn't want to talk about it. So, you know, it's not the kind of, if you have an illness that you can't hide, then you live with that. And if you know, I did not desire to be this public figure. However, an arrest changed all of that, and we had 5 interactions with cops, and all of them in California said, "It looks like what you're doing and what you're saying is true, so we'll leave you alone." And then the zero tolerance. And in 1992, we were arrested, and I was rather shocked to be arrested. I thought, what? This is bizarre. And that was the beginning of coming out for medical marijuana.